abantu abasinga obungi balaba nga opposition ebeera mulabe wa gavumenti, naye ate opposition tebeerangako balabe ba gavumenti, wabula opposition kyekisikkirize bakalondoozi ba gavumenti. Omulimu gwabwe kulondoola engeri gavumenti gyekolamu ebintu. Weeraba nti gavumenti wano tekola bulungi, nga bavaayo balaga nti ssebo wano temukola bulungi, mutereezemu bwe muti. Ogwo gwe mulimu gwa opposition. Era lwaleero waliwo ba officers okuva mu parliament omuli Chris Obore, director wa communications, basimbiddwa mu mbuga z'amateeka ku nsonga ezigambibwa ku okulya enguzi. Naye ebintu bino leader of opposition Joel Ssenyonyi yabyogerako era n'awandiikira IGGDPP okuba nga bakola investigations, era results zaazo zizo tuziraba. Kambawe video ze tulabe, naye mwetegereze bulungi okutegeera amakulu ga opposition mu parliament.
DPP and the Auditor General, asking them to operate within their mandate to investigate matters of financial impropriety and other issues that are happening here at Parliament. Because those entities are put in place by law and mandates, which mandates we expect them to operate within. And perhaps before I get to the at Parliament, I saw the Inspector General of Government saying that the Auditor General is investigating and so she's stepping aside. And we are saying, wait a minute, IGG, what exactly are you? Why are you running away from your responsibility? Because the mandate of the IGG is clear. The IGG cannot say that there is somebody else who is investigating, in fact auditing, because the Auditor General audits, of course, as the investigator and so on. But the IGG cannot say, the Auditor General is investigating, so let me step aside. No. Do not run away from your responsibilities, except if you're saying you're too scared as well. So there's no law, because the mandate of the IGG is very clear. The mandate of the Auditor General is very clear. There's no overlap. So the IGG, there's no law that bars the IGG from investigating a matter just because somebody else is investigating, because the IGG is an independent entity, statutory entity put in place by the IGG needs not to run away from her responsibility, which is very clear within the law, and the mandates are different. Besides, the Auditor General is an officer of Parliament. We understand that the Speaker asked the Auditor General to come and carry out an audit regarding these issues. We are not very convinced about that audit because, one, the Auditor General is an officer of Parliament. Number two, the Auditor General sent the same team that has been auditing Parliament all this while to carry out this special audit as well. They are conflicted. We don't expect them to come up with anything new. We don't expect them to say what we audited the other time was not proper, so we have found some new issues, yeah? And so I've also written to the Auditor General asking him, number one, to send a new team, not the one that has been auditing Parliament, which is what he sent. Because we believe that that particular audit team is just going to do window dressing and cleansing. And then the Speaker will flash a report and say, you see, the Auditor General has audited, everything is okay. So we don't believe in that audit by the same team which has been auditing Parliament all this while. There should be a different team. If anything, there should be a forensic audit, because you see, these are billions of shillings that we're talking about. So we are telling the Auditor General, take this audit very seriously, dig deeper. You cannot have that same team that has been coming all the while. And that's one of the letters that I've written to the Auditor General. And in essence, that's why we are telling the IGG, you cannot say the Auditor General is auditing, because the Auditor General is actually part of us. Of course, yes, he has got a legal mandate, but he's part of us. And now that the Speaker has told him do an audit, what guarantee do we have that that will be a proper audit? That won't just be doing window dressing. So we are telling the IGG, please, do not run away from your responsibility. Your mandate is very clear. Of course, the other letter to the Auditor General, we are asking for authenticated records of payments under the Parliamentary Commission and so on, because those are important for us as leaders, even as we carry out investigations, even for these different arms and entities that are executing their mandate. I also have written to the DPP, and this letter was received yesterday as well. There's the Speaker's community outreaches, where billions of shillings were put on the accounts of staff members of Parliament. They withdrew that money, took it to the Speaker. There's no law providing for that. How did it happen? What did this money do? Billions of shillings. Because when you see the Assistant Director, 2.4 billion shillings was put on his account. He withdrew and took to the Speaker. The Principal Protocol Officer in the Speaker's office, 1.1 billion shillings. Mr. Chris Obore, the spokesperson of Parliament, 1.9 billion shillings was put on his account, which he withdrew, took to the Speaker. We want that explained. Okay. Another officer in the Speaker's office, 4.5 billion shillings put on his account. He withdraws, takes to the Speaker. What are these activities? We want them explained, because these are billions of shillings. We want accountability for this money, but also it's illegal for these monies to be put on the accounts of staff. And hopefully staff at Parliament will learn, because you see, they will cause you to commit an illegality, and it's not enough for you to explain and say, it wasn't my money, I simply withdrew it and took it to the Speaker. How did you get involved? How is it that billions of shillings are personal account? So they've got to explain these issues as well. There's also direct payments to the Director in the Leader of Government Business Office, 4.4 billion shillings that was put on her account for certain works. Which ones? All of these have got to be explained. Even as we are writing to these entities. The other interesting issue is a contract. With me, I have a contract between the Parliamentary Commission and Mama Bukedia FM. This is a radio station belonging to the Speaker of Parliament. This contract is worth 3.13 billion shillings. Apparently to do Parliament-related work. Which work is that? We are asking what procurement regulations were followed for this radio station of the Speaker to get this contract worth 3.13 billion shillings. What work is it that this radio station does that you other media houses don't do? Because many of you cover Parliament Live and so on. You're not paid this money. So what special work is the Speaker's radio station doing for Parliament for it to be awarded a contract worth 3.13 billion shillings? What procurement regulations were followed? But also, more disturbing, is signed by staff in the office of the Speaker as managers of her radio station. How do you explain these ridiculous things? This is a contract worth 3.13 billion shillings. So aside from how it was given out, but the people signing on behalf of the radio station as managers of the Speaker's radio station as staff in her office here. So all of these illegal acts have got to be thoroughly investigated. We demand answers. The DPP is an independent entity, but the DPP can be requested and asked to cause an investigation. And therefore the DPP gets to direct police to carry out investigations. And that's why I have written to the DPP. I'm urging her to cause an investigation, because these are very serious matters that should actually ultimately, we believe, lead to prosecution, because there's lots of glaring irregularities. But anyhow, we are asking the
ebyo ebigambo bye bya leader of opposition wa 11th parliament, naye officers bonna nga we yayogera bebo abakwatiddwa. Kyeva olaba nti opposition, leader of opposition wa mugaso nnyo mu parliament, kuba bakola omulimu gwa oversight ku government resources. So tulabe omusango guno guyimiridde gutya, era abantu bano basimbiddwa mu kooti ey'abo balyake, era ne batwalibwa e Luzira. Tubalabe, katulabe.
Enkya ya leero ofiisi ya kalisoliso wa gavumenti ekedde kwata abakozi ba palamenti 7 ku misango egyekuusa kukulankanya ensimbi za gavumenti kussa okufuna ssente mu lukujjukujju. Ku bakwatiddwa kuliko akulira ebyamawulire palamenti Chris Obore, akulira abakozi Adilo Daniel eyali omutesitesi mu ofiisi ya sipiika Okema Leonard, akulira okunoonyereza ku palamenti Rajabu Kaya Semalulu, akulira ebyabagenyi okwi Emmanuel Emulun, akulira ebyenkulaakulana Otebata Vincent, n'akulira ssako ya palamenti Mulebe Methods. Bano bakirowedde abantu yana bwezikala nga n'abamu basazeewo okwesiba obuwero mu maaso nga beewala okwoleka obwenyi bwabwe mu kamera zaffe. Wadde omukyala yekka alabikira ku lukalala lw'abantu bano abaguddwako emisango gino, Yitute Stella ye talabiseeko naye tekimugisaako misango, era y'omu ku balina okwewuzaako mu kkooti ewuzisa abalyake n'abakenuzi. Chris Obore ne banne nga tebanatwalibwa ku kkooti basoose kukunyizibwa basirikale mu ofiisi ya kalisoliiso, era oluvannyuma lw'akaseera bano bassiddwa mu mmotoka bwe batyo ne batwalibwa mu kkooti ewuzisa abalyake n'abakenuzi ewandegeya. Ku ssaawa 8:30 omulamuzi wa kkooti eno Asimwe Esther atuuse era n'atandika olutalo lwa kkooti eno.
Is that during the period of 2023 to May 2026 in Parliament of Uganda, while employed as Principal Research Officer, stole 2,170,108,000, the property of your employer, to which you had access by virtue of your employment.
Omulamuzi Asiimwe bw'ati asomedde abavunaanwa emisango 9 omuli ogw'okukulakanya ensimbi, okufiiriza gavumenti ssente kw'ossa okufuna ssente mu lukujjukujju, era bano tebakkiriziddwako okubaako ne kiboogera. Bw'atyo n'abasindika ku alimanda mu kkomera Luzira okutuuka ku lwokubiri lwa ssabbiiti ejjanga ennaku z'omwezi 7 olwo nno lwe banaakomawo mu kkooti eno okuddamu okusomerwa emisango gino.
The particulars are that Okema Leonard, Chris Obore, Adilo Daniel, Kaya Rajab Semalulu, Otebata Vincent and Murebe Methods during the period of January 2023 to April 2026 in Parliament of Uganda, while employed as the Executive Secretary, Office of the Speaker, Director of Communications and Public Affairs, Director of Human Resource, Principal Research Officer, Capacity Development Officer, all of Parliament of Uganda, and the Chief Executive Officer, Parliamentary Circle, you processed, approved, and received 10,893,071,150 shillings, knowing at the time of processing and receipt that the said funds were proceeds of crime.
Abawabi ba gavumenti mu musango guno nga bakulembeddwamu Asio Daisy basabye kkooti eno okubongerayo akadde bamalirize okukola ku mpapula z'omusango guno, ekintu omulamuzi kyakkiriza.
And the matter be adjourned to enable the state to prepare documents so that the persons are able to take plea in the High Court and software emission.
Kyokka abamu ku bannamateeka babavunaanwa balaajanidde omulamuzi okubeera n'ekisa abawe ennaku ez'okumpi be balina okukomamu mu kkooti eno okulaba nti bateekayo okusaba kw'okweyimirira okw'abantu baabwe.
That is 6. which will be remanded.